Some villains get a bad rap for one reason or another, while they themselves could actually be quite a problem if given the chance. Norton G. Fester just happened to stumble upon a mysterious meteor in an unnamed region that he believed would have contained microscopic living matter which would solve the riddle of the universe. Unfortunately, no one really wanted to help him find out, so he went at it himself, chipping away at the material until a mysterious gas was released that ended up giving him superhuman strength, stamina, and durability. He decided to use this power to become the villain known as Looter. Now, he was pretty quickly apprehended by Spider-Man and became a model inmate in prison, but after being coerced into using his powers to escape, he actually beat up Spider-Man multiple times before Spider-Man had to team up with Valkyrie, and then eventually Norton put his amazing knack for theft to really good use. He would actually end up stealing a lot of stuff, especially from the Fantastic Four, but he had a knack for stealing and using the equipment of other villains. He stole Unicorn's power horn, which gave him the ability to create force fields, the Ringer's rings, which could freeze other objects as well as increase strength, hover, and be used as a weapon. He stole Stiltman's battlesuit with the elongated super strong legs, Mauler's armor, which provided limited invulnerability, super strength, and flight, Shocker's vibro shock gauntlets, and even Paste Pot Pete's Pace Gun. For an incredibly minor villain, he was pretty darn effective. But speaking of thieves, while Looter is a bit of a joke character and is often just hilarious and ridiculous, Ted Calloway, or Spymaster, is actually really cool and very effective. Spymaster has been a thorn in the side of Tony Stark Iron Man for a while, breaking into Stark Tower multiple times. In one arc, he was the one who put together a team of other underutilized Iron Man villains and broke into Stark Tower, stealing some of Stark's tech. He was even able to steal tech for Justin Hammer, which was the spark for the awesome Armor Wars storyline. He has eluded capture multiple times, and he even let the world believe that he was deceased while he continued to operate in the shadows. Despite first appearing in 1971, he's just always kind of remained relatively unknown to the common audience member, while indirectly being incredibly dangerous, stealing awfully powerful tech and selling it to the highest bidder to cause utter chaos for Iron Man and even other heroes. A mutant with telepathy, transmutation, and superhuman physical attributes, Gorgon was also a polymath genius and an extremely skilled hand-to-hand combatant, even leading the Hand for a time. He came into the comic book world hot, with his absolute strongest feat when he defeated Wolverine with one move, puncturing the mutant's lung with a sword so that he continuously lost oxygen. He was then able to subject Wolverine to Hydra brainwashing and then released an incredibly weakened and brainwashed Wolverine in South America in order to be recovered by S.H.I.E.L.D., who he attacked. With an introduction like that, and with all his various skills and insane intelligence, it's just a huge shame that he hasn't really been able to reach the same heights since, and was eventually wiped out in the X of Swords storyline after joining the mutant nation of Krakoa and becoming one of its captains. Batroc the Leaper is often considered a bit of a joke. However, he's actually one of the deadliest fighters in the entire Marvel universe. Georges Batroc is a master of the French style of kickboxing known as savate. Despite having no actual powers, just a peak level of physical strength and the unique ability to jump higher than an Olympic athlete, he's skilled enough that he's even a match for superpowered characters like Captain America and Spider-Man. When he first appeared in Tales of Suspense number 75, he was treated as a deadly and well-respected mercenary, as he should be. Funnily enough though, he also abides by a strict sense of honor that's even caused him to turn on his own employers if they aren't acting with honor. The sheer ridiculousness of Batroc's character alone makes him brilliant, but it's the fact that the character seems to survive almost all of his encounters and fights with superpowered individuals that has made him kind of a bit of a mainstay. Sin, aka Cynthia Schmidt, is the daughter of the Red Skull, and as such she is often overshadowed by her pops. But for a little while she was actually really cool with tons of potential. She was conceived with the intention of Red Skull gaining a male heir, but obviously Cynthia is not male. blackmail, and it almost meant her end if it wasn't for Susan Scarbo, who convinced the Skull to let her raise the child. Eventually, Skull returned and used the machine to both age Cynthia up, but also grant her superpowers. She was eventually captured and rehabilitated by S.H.I.E.L.D., but that was promptly undone by the henchman Crossbones, and the two of them went on the warpath, resulting in the demise of Steve Rogers' Captain America. Yes, Sin was instrumental in the legit fall of her father's greatest rival, but everything returns to the status quo, so Steve did eventually return and Sin was defeated. Despite all that happening though, she went on to gain control of a mystical Asgardian hammer that transformed her into the incredibly powerful Scotty, which was like the main inciting incident for the Fear Itself storyline. She's a really cool villain and one that needs more time in the limelight. I also prefer her to her father. She just feels even more ruthless and conniving. I want more Sin. That sounds weird. Now, most villains of Wolverine are incredibly dangerous individuals. We already talked about Gorgon on this list, but unlike him, the villain Cyber has never really been able to show off his true potential. Adamantium encased arms and body, claws that inject victims with hallucinogens, mutant psychic tracking abilities, and even the ability to cast his consciousness into other bodies. Silas Burr has, or at least had, a truckload of impressive abilities and should be a huge threat, but he just kind of isn't. I'm not sure why Cyber has been made to just kind of suck, but he really has. He was even responsible for giving Wolverine one of his most severe beatings up until that point in his long life, and was partially responsible for not only Wolverine's training, but Dawkins as well. But in the gallery of Wolverine rogues, he just doesn't really have anything else to his name. He mainly worked as a lackey to other people, and even though he has all the advantages that he has, he doesn't really become much of an issue for his opponents. At this point, he is on his 4th or 5th body as the new Hornet, and he has transitioned to be a villain for Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider. And nothing against Scarlet Spider, I like that character, but Marvel downgraded him from Wolverine to not Spider-Man. I feel like people don't really realize just how dangerous the Absorbing Man can really be. Back in the day, that was certainly true, but with his inclusion in more recent stories, particularly the Immortal Hulk, people have come to see just how powerful he is. His main power is, as you probably guessed it, the ability to absorb anything he touches. There's practically no limit as to what he can absorb and take the attributes of. Glass, silk, water, a whole comet, steel, paper, helium? Cosmic energy from an attack by Odin, cosmic energy from a cosmic cube, electricity, gamma energy, and even the magical energies of Thor's hammer Mjolnir. He's grown to the size of a skyscraper and has even absorbed and controlled the mind of the Hulk. Some of this stuff doesn't even make sense, and yet he did it. He's given the Hulk, Thor, the Sentry, and even Odin a run for their money. The main thing that holds him back is he's just kind of an idiot. He's not that bright. That's it. If he ever got an above average intelligence, most of the Marvel superhero community would be absolutely done for. And that's actually what happened in the alternate universe Earth 9997, when he absorbed Ultron's intelligence and could then store different absorption abilities for later use. A tenacious, intelligent, and morally grey villain and brilliant leader in finance, Julieta Nefaria, working under her father, Count Nefaria, became the leader of the massive Magia crime family. That is already a whole lot of power, but in a very indirect sense. In one of her first moments, she actually attempted to infiltrate Stark Industries by charming Jasper Sitwell. Only she actually ended up getting feelings for him and then got into an accident that disfigured her, which is when she got the golden mask that granted her the name of Madame Masque. She has remained a villain to the heroes of the Marvel Universe for a long time, playing a bit more of a hands-on part in major events like Dark Reign and Secret Invasion, although kinda behind the scenes. She has remained a decent level threat for a long time, being proficient in multiple forms of combat, a master of disguise, some ability as a gymnast, and her telepathic resistance, but there was also a point where she acquired a number of magical artifacts that gave her actual powers outside of the Magia. Most recently though, she proved to be even more dangerous in the crossover event gang war. She manipulated multiple parties in New York City against each other to craft a citywide war between all of the local gangs fighting for each other's territories. The Spider-Man villain Electro is incredibly underplayed. Often coming across as a bit of an unintelligent, thick-headed thug, Electro has always eluded the big leagues of Marvel villainy, but his power set is on the level of characters like Magneto and Storm. Max Dillon has become a being of electrical energy, able to store up to 10 million volts of electricity that he can use to fire lightning bolts, propel himself off the ground, and even enhance his own physical attributes. In one case, while he was in prison, Doc Ock taught him that he could ionize metals, and in Marvel Knights, he used that ability to deadly effectiveness, taking the lives of many innocent bystanders using various metal objects, and even using his powers to chuck cars like they were baseballs. He's also used his powers to shut down the power grid that powered the supervillain prison known as the Vault, leading to a huge prison break. Electro mainly uses his abilities to do pretty simple things, but it would not take much to make him a major threat. During the 80s, writer Roger Stern was under a lot of pressure to have Spider-Man fight the Green Goblin again. But rather than bringing back Norman Osborn, he decided to create a new villain that was just very similar. Shady business mogul Roderick Kingsley stumbled onto one of Norman Osborn's old hideouts filled with Green Goblin equipment. He then took some time and actually improved said equipment and even improved the Green Goblin formula, making it no longer have an adverse effect on mental health. Now, everyone knows how effective and dangerous the Green Goblin is, but Roderick, as the Hobgoblin, ran an entire criminal empire for years, and he did it without anyone even learning his name. One of the biggest things about Hobgoblin was that no one knew who he was for so long until he was revealed to be Kingsley. But even then, he managed to escape to a private island with millions of dollars. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my picks? Let me know down below, because I will catch you guys on the Flippy Flop. I'm Adam Andrews. Be sure to take care of yourselves, and as always, peace out, nerds.